Well, hey, everybody, I'm Zach Ewing, and this is the first episode of Cashin with Carville, brought to you by bet.NOLA.com. I introduce a man who needs no introduction here in South Louisiana, James Carville, for our first episode. James, how are you today?
Well, I'm good. I'm glad people are starting to get the lights back on back home. That's always a good feeling, and I'm glad that we didn't get wet. But this is a tough time for Louisiana, so I think it's time to have a little fun and get into a little sports betting here.
That's the idea. Hopefully, we can actually do it by the end of the month. But we're going to start playing contests this week, and the NFL starts tonight with the Cowboys and the Bucks. So we're going to go, and for those who don't know, here's how it works. Each week, we're going to ask James to pick 6 games against the spread, 3 college football, 3 NFL. Anyone who can beat James over the course of a month will win a prize, and then there are grand prizes at the end of the season for the top finishers as well. One note on that, and this, James, you can expound on this if you want to. You can't bear to pick against the home teams, and so your picks on LSU and the Saints will always be for the Tigers and the Saints.
That they don't count. They don't count.
That's right. If somebody wants to get ahead of you, they can pick against them, but that's their thing. It doesn't mean you think
I'm not going to do that. Right.
They won't necessarily cover every week, but
for recreational purposes only. Don't.
That's right. That's right. This is just for the contest.
Right.
So we'll jump right into the games this week, starting with college football. And our first one comes to us from Columbus, Ohio, where the Buckeyes are 14.5-point favorites over the Oregon Ducks. Ducks have a long way to come. Both teams won their opener last week. James, what do you think?
I'll take the points.
We'll take Oregon with the points on that one.
That's a lot. That's a lot of points, and Ohio State is good, but Oregon is good too.
Fair enough.
Maybe not as good as Ohio State, but there's a lot of good between 14.5 and a tie.
That hook will get you.
Right.
All right. Next up in the afternoon, the battle for the Hawkeye State. I guess I shouldn't say that because it's the Hawkeyes against the Cyclones. A big in-state battle, and Iowa State's at home. And even though Iowa had the impressive win against Indiana last week, it's Iowa State that's favored by 4.5.
Yeah, I'd take Iowa, and I like Iowa State. They were good last year. I think didn't they lose the opener this year? They didn't have a great opener, but that's 4.5 points, and it's a rivalry game, and I kind of like the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, the Hawkeyes are certainly impressive last week. Iowa State did win last week, but it was, I think, 6 points against Northern Iowa. It was not very impressive, so we'll see if they bounce back. Yeah. And the last college game of the day, we go to the SEC, where the Arkansas Razorbacks are hosting Texas, and the line there is just under a touchdown, Texas minus 6.5.
Arkansas might be better than they've been, but they hadn't been very good. And so Cashin, I think, is going to bring Texas back to. He's a good coach, all right. And I like the Horns here.
All right, so we're going with
the to be SEC member over the established SEC.
We're going with 3. Yeah, the new SEC member.
Yeah, I'm meeting a lot of chalk.
That's 3 road teams now, an underdog and 2 favorites.
3 road teams. I got 2 chalks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you get the road stuff is factored in, into the point spread.
Absolutely. Yeah. So road teams cover just as much as home teams, right?
Yeah.
Now moving on to the NFL on Sunday morning. There's a lot of big NFL games this week.
Woo!
We picked out 3. But we'll start with the Bills hosting the Steelers, and Buffalo is minus 6.5. That's a statement you wouldn't have said 5 years ago. The Bills catching almost a touchdown against the Steelers.
I mean, Josh Allen, top ranked quarterback. I'm going to take the Steelers, and I'm not. This is no nostalgia here. It's 6.5 points, and Steelers got a good coach, and they're getting points, and it's. I know it's the new Buffalo Bills, but we'll go with the Steelers.
It's still the Buffalo Bills. Another road team, though. James Carville with a 4th road team and 4 picks. We'll see if that streak ends here with our Sunday night football game. The Bears are the road team going all the way out to L.A., the first Rams game with fans in the new SoFi Stadium. It's a big spread, Rams minus 7.5.
Eat them.
All right.
Take the Rams.
Taking the Rams big with Andy Dalton at quarterback. Maybe things change when Fields gets behind center.
That defensive lineman guy might be the best player in the NFL.
Aaron Donald, he is a beast.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be in the same state with him.
We'll wrap up the picks with Monday Night Football. Again, first game with fans for the Las Vegas Raiders. They are hosting the Ravens, and it's a road favorite this time. The Ravens -4.5.
I'm gonna take the home team in the points.
All right.
I mean, they're opening up. And the Ravens, Gruden good. They're pretty good. I like the Raiders here.
First team with fans at the new Allegiant Stadium. Should be an emotional night, and James Carville likes the Raiders. So just to recap, Oregon +14.5 at Ohio State is the pick. Iowa -4.5 at Iowa State. Texas -6.5 at Arkansas. The Pittsburgh Steelers +6.5 in Buffalo. The LA Rams -7.5 at home for the Bears, and the Raiders +4.5 against the Baltimore Ravens. So those are our Carville picks for week 1. You can log on to bet.nola.com and pick against James. See if you can beat him. See if you can win some prizes. In the meantime, I know you don't want to pick him, but what are your thoughts on LSU? I know you were at the Rose Bowl last week, a disappointing night, and then the Saints opening up as well.
My thoughts are we got to get better. I mean, it was like the 2020 season just started played into 2021. But Coach Orgeron showed, he can adjust and make improvements. And we had that awesome 2019. So better beat if we don't beat McNeese in Central Michigan. But we're going to learn a lot against Mississippi State. But we learned against UCLA that we got more learning to do here. And I don't think one game doesn't make a season, but it sure puts a caution light up,
Sure thing.
And so we'll see. But we got some terrific athletes, and I think coaches can get them focused in the right way. We can't let our people get beaten. UCLA got a lot of receivers behind us, and we couldn't move the ball. And hopefully, we knew the offensive line was a kind of question mark going into the season. It wasn't much of a question mark against UCLA. It just wasn't very good.
Yeah,
and
that's
hopefully through determination and coaching, and they'll get better. But let's see. But there's definitely a kind of a alarm in River City here.
As you said, at least they get 2 weeks to sort of get things right, McNeese and Central Michigan, before they get into the SEC. What about the Saints?
But I don't know. Practicing in Dallas, TCU, they fly to Jacksonville, they play Green Bay, which is and they don't come home to the fourth game. Sean Payton is just such a good football coach. All right, he just really is a good football coach, and we're going to be, obviously the big question is that some people think Jameis Winston could be, he's one of these guys got a lot of range. He could be a 2 on a scale of 10, or he could be a 9 on a scale of 10. I mean, he can definitely throw the pineapple.
I think he's going to be good. We'll see. I mean,
I mean, look, and again, I'm kind of I'm kind of optimistic because we got a lot of good players. We got some really good coaches, and if our quarterback is what we hope and think he can be, it might be pretty good.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. That's the best part. Any other betting tips or lines you like that we didn't mention this week?
I tell you, I like Nebraska a little bit.
Cornhuskers are
sort
of struggling.
13.5 in Lincoln, but Buffalo is not that good. And I'd throw in TCU -11 at home against Cal.
Okay.
And I like the Browns getting 6.5 with the Chiefs.
And that's in Kansas City, so that'll be that's the other big NFL game we didn't necessarily pick. So if you
those are kind of my blend throw in with the hell, it might be, I've gone over. Just remember that.
We love Lanyap. We don't think you'll go over. It's James Carville. You know him from TV, but the man is a serious sports bettor, serious sports fan as well. And so we will be back every week with Cashin in with Carville. James, thank you very much for being with us.
If there's a vice, I like it.
All right.
I don't think sports betting is a vice. I think it's a virtue. But anyway.
Hey, it's very entertaining, and that's what we're here for. So we appreciate
Great
it.
Zaxter. All right, man.
That's right. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet.
Okay.